Good morning. You can become a great leader. We were all born the same. We all got our start the same way. We came into this world naked, squalling, and toothless. Our heads were empty. Everything that we have in our heads today, everything that we know about, are things that somebody has taught us. Think about that for a minute. Everything that you know has been taught to you by somebody, or as you grew older through the experiences, the trials and the errors that you have been through during your life. Would you like to become a great leader? I have gone through 22 and a half years in the military of the United States. I started off with 10 years in the United States Marine Corps, and I did 12 and a half years in the National Guards of Arkansas and Montana. I was in the intelligence field, and I progressed in that field and became an instructor in intelligence, and later on I became a professional development instructor for the enlisted leaders in the military. Now, don't get away from me here. Military leadership and civilian leadership are the same. In both cases, we have to take people who come from different walks of life, people with different political views, people with different religious views, people who are different in many ways, and bring them together. Now, this is possible and can be done simply because even though we're all different, every one of us is unique, and there's no two of us exactly alike, we're still all the same. One of life's paradoxes. And these paradoxes of life are some of the things that we need to understand in order to become effective leaders. And I like the word effective because it implies somebody who gets things done. A good leader could be considered somebody who lords it over his people, who browbeats them, threatens them with the loss of their job, threatens them with bad things in order to get them to go along with the program and make the leader look good. That's not a leader. That is really, he could be so far down the ladder that you'd call him a psychopath. It just depends on who the person is. But that's not what we're talking about. Leadership, true leadership, is influence, my friend. It's influence. It's influencing other people to cooperate with you in the accomplishment of a goal or a mission that is beneficial both to you and to the person or people that you are leading. So leadership is influence to cooperate. As we go through these videos and look at leadership, we're going to have to look at important things like self-development. Leadership, all leadership is by example. Therefore, self-development is an absolute essential in being able to be a leader. You're going to find out that you will attract what you are. You will not attract what you do, but you will attract what you are. You will find that you are what you think. So we need to focus on what you are. And in order to get to what you are, we have to examine what you think. There'll be more on that in coming videos. I want to start off with this video to give you some ideas on how you can influence your people in a legitimate way. I'm not talking about manipulation like you see so much of on the internet. Everybody's got something to sell, and they just bombard you with emails, and it's all about selling. It's all about them making money. Selling. If you're a salesman, you're a leader. Whoever you are, whatever you do, whatever your biggest interest in life is, you are a leader unless you are a hermit. You are a leader in your home. You are a leader in your work. And you can be a leader even if you are the low person on the totem pole. You can be down at the bottom, but you can still have influence on those above you. Obviously, you can't lord it over them. Therefore, influencing is the way to go. Ben Franklin said it best about how to influence people. He said, if you would persuade, appeal to their interests. Appeal to the interests of the people that you would like to persuade. And this is persuasion. Everybody, I can't say everybody, but I can say most of the world is on the wrong sheet of music. They are doing what the crowd does. And the crowd is, let's say, 80% or 85% of the people. The 85% of the people are poor, confused. They think they know, but they don't know what they don't know, and they think they do know it. This is a dangerous situation, and the greatest majority of the world's population is living in that dangerous situation. They think they know what they don't know. And what you don't know can devastate you. They like to say that what they don't know won't hurt them. But I'll tell you that what you don't know could devastate you. Just to give you a quick example, if you don't know what the economic situation is going to be when you're 70 years old, in retirement, ready to retire or already retired, if you don't know what the economic situation is, then you don't know what you need to accomplish in order to be prepared for it. It's best that you might study and try to follow the advice that's out there and get the information on what it looks like, what the forecasts are, and translate that into how much money in that economy 20 years, 30, 40 years from now, in that economy, how much money will you have to be able to live without drawing a significant income? Because I can tell you, when you retire, your income stays the same and it looks good on day one. But as you continue through retirement, the prices keep going up, 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 folks. They keep going up. And the pay stays virtually the same. What you don't know could devastate you. If you don't know that 80%, 85% of the population of the world is screwing up, then you don't know that following them is wrong. And if you follow all these people who are not bearing fruit that shows that their expertise, then you are barking up the wrong tree, and what you don't know can come back to really haunt you. There are some things that we need to look at. I'm going to go through today. I'm going to go through some things that you can do to appeal to people's interests, to influence them to cooperate with you in accomplishing your goals. We're going to look at those. We're also, in the future, we're going to look at some characteristics of human nature. We'll show you why 85% of the population is barking up the wrong tree and not knowing what they think they know. We're going to look at human nature. We're going to look at how things really work. And it's not going to be an easy journey. It's going to be simple, but it's not going to be easy. If it were easy, everybody would be rich instead of 5 or 6% of the population. We're going to take a look at money because money is vitally important, but it is not the main focus. One reason that we're going to look at money early on is because you're focused on it. If I ask you, what is your main goal? You would probably say to make a lot of money, make $1 million, become a billionaire. You would probably answer something related to the accumulation of money. I want to point out to you, this is a tidbit that you might want to jot down right now. The only reason most people want money is so they can get the things that money can buy. And they think that money will deliver to them things that money can't buy, such as happiness. People, in surveys that I have seen taken by myself and other speakers, they ask people, what do you want in life? Health usually tops the list. They'll say health, money, love, happiness. Those are the things that they think they can get with money, and they get involved in a frantic search for happiness. It's just a cycle that keeps going around and around and around. And you have to bust out of that cycle. You have to know what's going on. And when you know what's going on, when you know the answers, then you can write the question. Zig Ziglar said what Ben Franklin said in a slightly different way. He said you can get anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. How are we going to influence people to cooperate with us? We're going to meet their interests. And how are we going to meet their interests? In a survey that a German gentleman did, I saw a TED Talk by him, and I'm ashamed to say I can't remember his name. It was a name that was very hard to pronounce anyhow. But he was focused on the economy and the fact that by 2030, the projections say that the United States will have a 4% deficit of labor. There will be 4% fewer workers than are needed to occupy or to satisfy the needs of the economy and the workplace. This is because of low birth rates. It will be because of older people retiring and dying. The fact that there will be a deficit by the year 2030, which is only 15 years from now, and when you talk about corporate America, 15 years is almost lightning fast. It's very close. It's at the door. And that means that leadership, the ability to influence people, is going to mean that it means that the employees will go to those people who can lead them effectively, who can make them want to cooperate with you. One of the highest things on the list that this gentleman did that would cause people to be willing to relocate to another country for an opportunity. The number one thing on the list that people said was a requirement that would convince them to make a move like that was appreciation. I bet you thought it was money. It's appreciation. Salary was number 8 on the list. Number 8. So the idea that we can pay a big salary and we're going to draw people like a magnet is goofy thinking. The idea of people want appreciation and they want recognition. You can push your people ahead by recognizing their accomplishments. You can push people ahead. You can actually not push them ahead. That's a bad term. I shouldn't have said that. Bad boy, Bob. What I should have said was you can lead people ahead by recognizing their accomplishments, by recognizing them as a human being, by recognizing their strong characteristics. In the military, we got fitness reports, or in the Marine Corps, they were called fitness reports. In the National Guard, they were called non-commissioned officer evaluation reports, or NCOERs. We'd get these about every 3 months. And when your superiors would write you up and say what they thought about you, and they would check certain boxes off on, his appearance and your ability, your skills, and so on and so forth, and then they would write a narrative. And needless to say, the ones that I liked were the ones where they said, Sergeant Carpenter is one of the top most respected leaders in the unit. When I got reports that said that, I was recognized. I was officially recognized because this went into my personnel file. It went with me wherever I went. So for that recognition, I worked harder so that I would get that kind of recognition at the end of each reporting period. You do the same thing, and 98% of the people out there will also do the same thing. If they expect to be recognized, have confidence that they will be recognized, they will perform. Appreciation is sort of a subset of recognition. Appreciation can be as simple as, I appreciate you because you showed up here on time today. I appreciate the fact that you always show up on time. I appreciate the fact that you are willing to help the person next to you understand a little more about what we're trying to do here. Appreciation and recognition go a long way. In the military, you see the people in uniforms and their dress uniforms, and they'll have rows of ribbons on. Every one of those ribbons is a recognition of something that they have accomplished. It may be a silver star for bravery in combat. It may be something as generic as a ribbon that recognizes your service in the military. It may be a ribbon that recognizes outstanding service by the entire unit. But those ribbons are all recognition of something that these people have accomplished. For that recognition, these people remain loyal. These people work hard just for a little piece of colored ribbon to put on their uniform. That sends a message to everybody who understands that they have been recognized by somebody outside themselves for having accomplished something that not everybody accomplishes. Your people also want knowledge. They're interested in knowledge. They're interested in being educated, even if they say they are not. If they say they're not and they truly are incorrigible and not seeking knowledge and don't want education, they might not be fit to stay on your team. Sometimes that happens. These rules that I'm mentioning are all almost universal. There's nothing that is universal like one size fits all. So we need to be ready to educate our people and educate them and help them, encourage them to increase their knowledge, increase their skills. You need to try and lift your people to your level. You want, as an effective leader, you want to set your people up to be able to take your job. It doesn't mean that they will get your job, but if you lift them up so that they are capable of getting your job, then they may get transferred and you to another team to where they do fill the same position that you fill. When this happens, you have accomplished great things, and the opportunity now comes for the replacement for you to lift him up to being qualified for your job. Education is very important, as well as honesty. People look for honesty in their leaders. We might live in the 21st century. We might be living where it's just do your own thing, and we don't have to worry about who we walk on, stomp on, and trample on. But that is not true. You search on the internet. You don't even have to do a search. All you have to do is go to some forum, and you can read and go to the political ones where some politician is accused of lying or cheating on his wife or something like that, and look at the comments. People today uphold the same values that were important when I was young, and the same values that have been in place for hundreds of years in this country. They've been in place for thousands of years in human history. These values are what the people... Now, the media is going to use cognitive biases to convince you that this is not the case. And when they get the ratings in for how many people are watching these shows that are teaching the wrong values, the values that the real people on the internet and on the street despise, it's because those people are for some reason watching those shows. So the media it's designed to take advantage of your human vulnerabilities, and you do have human vulnerabilities. People also are interested in innovating and creating. They are interested in opportunities to accomplish. They want to accomplish something. Who likes to go home and say, I spun my wheels all day. I worked up a sweat, and I got nothing accomplished? That's depressing, and nobody likes that. Everybody wants to be able to go home and say, I accomplished something today, and I thought it was going to be very difficult, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. People want to have space to create. They want to believe that they are important, and you can make them feel important by the things that you say, by the things that you do. Your words are very important. Your words can tear somebody down or build somebody up. We're going to get into that. I have some very deep convictions born of experience concerning words and the use of words. Your people do need sufficient pay. They need to be able to live without financial stress. Now, most people are going to live under financial stress no matter how much you pay them. If you or someone else thinks that the answer to your problems is a pay raise, if you think that it's to get a higher paying job or to receive an inheritance, to somehow get a bonus, a big bonus, that is an indication that you don't understand money. What happens with most people is they get the extra bonus, they get their pay increased, and that means they can spend more. So they spend more, they make more, they spend more, they may drive a fancy car. Now, there are poor people in the United States of America today who make $100,000 a year or more. Average in this country is around $52,000 at this time. People who are making double that amount. People who are making $200,000 and $300,000 a year, in very many cases, are just as poor financially as the person making $30,000 or $40,000. Because the more they make, the more they spend. Famous speaker who unfortunately has passed from this life, named Jim Rohn. He said one time, he probably said it more times, but I heard him say it once. He said, if you get $1 million, you best become a millionaire. And I've taken and turned that around to say, the fastest way to get $1 million is to become a millionaire. And I'll explain more about that in a future video. But if you have $1 million and you don't think like a true millionaire, if you don't think like the 5% that's wealthier than the other 95%, that money is going to come, it's going to slip through your fingers, and it will be gone very rapidly. Consider the number of people who have won the lottery and ended up homeless, divorced, families broken up, life shattered. Money's kind of like fire. It's a very wonderful servant and a fearful master. Let me close on the issue of money. For most of you, I'm sure I have shown you and hopefully called at least into your mind the idea that you don't know all there is to know about money, and I don't either. I'll be honest with you. I don't know all there is, but I know a lot more now than I knew when I was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s. There's a book that you can buy on Amazon for about $7 or $8. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's by George S. Clason. The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. This book will take you back to ancient times in Babylon in the Middle East, to the time when it was a very, very wealthy city. And it's a series of delightful short stories. They're fun to read. It's not heavy reading at all. It's a lot of fun to read. And the upshot of it is the poor man decides to go to the richest man in Babylon and seek his advice. His advice is very good advice, and it goes throughout the book, and it's put in a way that a fourth grader wouldn't have any trouble understanding it. And I suggest for you parents that you read the book and that you share what you have read with your fourth graders and older children too. The getting a grip on money from a mental perspective, an emotional perspective, and a physical perspective is very important. Just that in itself will help you in your leadership abilities because it will reduce the stress that money can cause. Remember, it's a wonderful servant, but it's a fearful master. This series of videos is going to be about leadership and self-development or personal professional development, because the foundation of leadership, as I said at the beginning, is personal development. You have to be what you want to attract. If you want to attract respectful people, you have to be a respectful person. So we'll be looking at leadership from many angles. And in the meantime, I know that you may have leadership issues that you would like to discuss. You may ask your questions or suggest topics that you would like me to address in the comment section. Just go down there and put in whatever it is that's of concern to you. Ask any questions, and I will do my best to answer. I can't necessarily answer everyone. We'll just have to see how many show up. But use a comment section. I am here to help you learn what I've learned. This is my passion that I feel very strongly about. In old age, I have come to realize that what I thought was just common knowledge is not common knowledge. I thought that what I knew was just something that almost everybody knew. And I've come to realize that I know a lot of things. I have, in my leadership experiences, which didn't stop when I got out of the military. It's gone on and on. I've been at it for around 50 years. That what I know is not common knowledge. And I'm trying to provide a shortcut for you to be able to not make the mistakes that I've made, not experience the delays that I've made. And that if you are willing to roll up your sleeves, to learn something new, to sweat a little bit, that you can also become a very effective and appreciated leader. Until next time, get The Richest Man in Babylon. Read it, think about it, and I'll see you back here next time.